Are you afraid of losing your client photos as I am? One of the fears that we live with as photographers is losing our clients' pictures. In this video, I'm going to teach you exactly how not to do that. Welcome back, y'all. Today I'm going to actually talk to you a little bit about one of the fears that keep us up at night for us working photographers, and that is essentially losing our clients' photos. The fear of having to call your brides and grooms and letting them know, by the way, unfortunately, I lost your pictures on a once-in-a-lifetime event is an absolute nightmare for us. And there are ways that you can actually avoid that. And so in this video, I'm actually going to show you a few methods that I personally use to avoid this problem. The first of many is what they call a dual SD cameras. So cameras like these Fujifilm X-T3 comes with built-in dual color slots. So you could essentially insert two SD cards and program it that it writes to both cards at all times. And so if you were to perhaps run into a SD card error while the camera is writing to both cards, so you'll always have a backup plan. You can also actually write to one card, and when that empties, you can write to the other to extend your length of the amount of photos that you're taking. However, the way I use it is I make sure that it's shooting exact images on both. So if one SD card fails on me, I'll always have a backup. Another method that I use essentially to not lose pictures is to not lose or use too big of SD cards. You could buy SD cards at 32 gigs, 64 gigs, 120 gigs, 256 gigs. I think the sweet spot for me is 64 gigs of raw data, of raw images, and I can essentially shoot about 1,000 pictures, which perhaps the way I go about it is I can go through 1,000 photos in about an hour or two. So if you were to have any SD error or your camera breaks or you lose your camera, well, you're only going to be losing a part of the wedding day. So yes, it's still a big issue, but you're not losing the entire day. So there is ways, unfortunately, that you can avoid these problems, and that is to minimize the size of these cards. Solution number two, external hard drives. So external hard drives like these, storage is relatively inexpensive compared to what it used to be 10, 20 years ago. And so external hard drive can be found really anywhere online on Amazon or other tech sites. And for a external hard drive such as this one, 2 terabytes, which is more than 2,000 gigs, you can essentially store an entire wedding season on one of these drives. And so it is one additional way in which you can have a backup plan. Long time ago, they used to be very expensive. In this day and age, if you are a professional working photographer, you should have many of these drives. Option number three, or rather layer number three, and that is offsite storage. So there are cloud storage services that offer essentially storage for minimal yearly fee. Sites such as Backblaze, Lightroom, and Adobe software, they also offer cloud storage. Big companies like Amazon and Microsoft also have their own cloud software services that you can utilize. And so by layering the protection, you can ensure that you don't lose photos. So starting with the dual SD cards, external hard drive, and offsite cloud storage. Similar to a bank, really. You have your safe, then you also have your security, you also have your police that's guarding the money. Well, photographers kind of imply this layer approach, and this is how we try to limit the number of pictures that we lose on any given year. So last but not least is working with quality SD cards. This is a standard SanDisk Ultra. 64 gig, and this is a SanDisk Extreme Pro SD card. And the reason why I own these different types is essentially this more professional grade, I guess you can call it, or rather, I purchased it specifically for the speed in which you can write information into them. That's what I use them. But arguably, quality SD cards will limit the amount of loss of data that you might experience. And so what I've learned, not through personal experience, but through speaking with photographer friends, is that actually replacing cards every few years will limit the potential errors that you might experience. So one of the things that I do is I typically will date my SD cards, the date that I purchased them, and then try to replace it every 2 to 3 years. And by using this method, I've never really experienced an actual crash. So that's the last piece of tip that I have for you. All right, so that's all I wanted to share in this video. If you like this kind of content, please hit the like and subscribe button, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.